New data out today finds 2012 to be the hottest year on record in the U.S., a full degree warmer than the next hottest year and more than 3 degrees above the 20th century average. To help us put those somewhat obtuse numbers in context, we're joined by the Post environment reporter Juliet Alperin. Good to have you here.
Thanks so much.
So this sounds like a lot, but it's hard to know whether a degree means a bunch or it doesn't. So I wonder if this was a surprise to scientists.
It was not a surprise to scientists, but they would say that it's significant, that what we're seeing is certainly several indications of hotter temperatures and also drier conditions linked in part to climate change caused by greenhouse gas emissions. So they would say 1 degree Fahrenheit is nothing to sniff at. That is significant, and for folks to understand, this is record keeping that goes back to 1895. That's when we started our comprehensive record keeping of temperatures in the United States.
We've heard a lot about global temperatures going up, but the U.S. temperatures haven't followed until now. Is it what we're catching up?
They've lagged a little. They certainly have lagged a little bit, and so that's one of the things that people have asked why we've hit basically something like 10 of the hottest years on record have been in the last roughly 15 years, and so people have said, well, we haven't always had these record-breaking temperatures here in the United States. There are a few different factors for that, including regional weather conditions and also the fact that there are these aerosols that came originally from kind of soot and industrial operations, which have curbed climate change specifically over the United States. And since we started phasing those out in the 1970s, and now that there are much lower concentrations, that's one of the reasons why you're seeing these hotter temperatures emerge now.
Is this the continuation of the drumbeat, or is there something new here either scientifically or potentially politically?
I think it's certainly the continuation of the drumbeat. It's another example of how things are changing, and I think one reason this might resonate a little more with Americans than we've seen in the past is 2012 really was significant. According to the Climate Extremes Index, it was the second most extreme year on record. You had drought that covered 61% of the nation. You had one of the most severe wildfire seasons since in 50 years, and then on top of that, of course, you had Superstorm Sandy, which hammered the East Coast. So you had every region of the country had some extreme weather, and so that's one of the reasons why it might resonate a little more with people now than before.
And I would assume this is assumed to be, and will probably need to be, somewhat of an anomaly, because when we're talking about such incremental change, if we go up an extra degree every year, in 10 years. So we don't expect this to be repeated, right?
Exactly. We don't expect to have, for example, this kind of jump of a record break every single year. And one of the things, for example, the head of the National Climatic Data Center, who I talked to, Thomas Carl, would emphasize that you're not going to have records broken every year, but you're going to increasingly see these hotter and drier conditions that are going to affect the nation.
Okay. We'll let you attend to your dry throat.
Thanks so much.
Thank you, Julia.